I stopped being this little selfish kid. I stopped being like my 4-year-old son. And for the first time in my life, I stopped thinking everything was just about Inky Johnson, and I realized my existence on this earth is a lot bigger than me. I realized my lineage and my family, when I step outside of my door in the morning, what I represent is a lot bigger than me. And so the thing I had to understand, every day I woke up and everything that I was a part of, I first had to understand I was representing a lot more than myself. I first had to start living by 2 words, honor and legacy. And what I mean by honor and legacy, you honor the ones that paved the way for you. And you leave a legacy for the ones that's coming behind you. We just have it right now while we're a part of something right now. Somebody has came before us and paved the way, and somebody will come after us. And so while we have it, how can we do it in such a way that we leave a legacy for the ones that's coming behind us, and we honor the ones that paved the way for us? And so everything I did, I took a certain level of pride in it. People thought I just wanted to be a great football player. What they didn't understand about Inky Johnson was this: I could have washed cars. I guarantee you I would have been the best car washer there was in the world. Because the thing I understood, I wasn't just representing myself. It wasn't just about me. Everything that I did, I shifted my mindset from me to we. Now I was operating with a spirit of collective character, meaning it didn't matter what I did individually. If I didn't represent my mother in the right way, it didn't matter. If I didn't represent my lineage in the right way, if I didn't represent my team in the right way, who cares what I did individually? I didn't care if we won a game and I scored 40 points individually. Who cared? I shifted from me to we. And so everything I started to do, I was thinking about my family, I was thinking about my community, and I was thinking about my friends in a different way. And I will never forget, I got to high school, and nobody in my family had ever been to college. They all dropped out and ended up in prison. My high school, the name of it was Crim High School in Atlanta. They used to call it Crime High. They used to shoot teachers. And my first day, I walked through the metal detector, and a cop was standing on the other end of the metal detector. And he said, "What is your plan, little man?" I said, "My plan is to go Division I." He said, "No, you'll probably go to cell block D1. I said, "No, you got the wrong guy." He said, "I heard that before. Your uncles came through and said the same thing." I said, "No, I'm telling you, you got the wrong guy." You know the first person I went to see when I got my scholarship papers? But you know the most amazing thing happened? It wasn't that I went to college. I had 3 little cousins sleeping on that same floor that went to college. I saw friends in my community come off the corner from selling drugs and go to college. I saw friends in my community come out of gangs and go to college. All because I shifted my mindset and it wasn't about me. I broke generational curses in my community because it wasn't just about me. I didn't care so much about me going to college. I wanted the ones coming behind me to get it. And I'll never forget, I went on an airplane, and my first time riding an airplane, I was a senior going to a football game, and I went in the restroom on the airplane, and as I was washing my hands, there was a sign on the wall. And I'll never forget it. My first time on the airplane, I'm washing my hands, there was a sign on the wall. And as I was walking out of the restroom, the sign said, "As common courtesy to the person that's coming behind you, can you wipe the sink out and leave it better than you found it?" And I said, as common courtesy to the generation that is coming behind me in life, everything that I touch, everything that I'm a part of, I vow to God that I will leave it better than I found it. And so now it wasn't even about me. And I got my scholarship up to Tennessee, and they looked at me when I first hit campus, 135-pound kid soaking wet in the SEC. And the first reporter, he asked me, he said, "Inky Johnson, do you even think you're gonna play at the University of Tennessee?" He said, "You're 135 pounds. I said, "Not only am I gonna play, I'm gonna start." I said, "You made a mistake." I said, "See, what you don't understand, and this is what most people do, they base judgment off of what they can see. But what they don't understand, the moments that make you who you are, the moments that they can't see. You see, anybody can be on their best behavior when somebody is standing over their shoulder, watching them, seeing if they're gonna do what they're supposed to do. But what that reporter didn't see, you see, he could see I came from Crim High School. He could see I was 135 pounds. He could see I was 5'9". He could see all of the stats. He could see all of that. But what he never saw was when I was in the park with my mother when I was 7 years old. She was sitting at Buick Regal at 10:30 at night. What he didn't see was every Saturday morning at 5:30, I was up running 2 miles to a fire station and 2 miles back home. What he didn't see was every time I slept on that floor with roaches and rats with my cousins, I got up every morning, went to school, and never made one excuse. What he didn't see was on Christmas Eve, when a guy came through me and my cousin's window, he stuck a 9mm and a 45 in both our face and took all of our Christmas gifts, and we had to stand on the curb, and our mother told us, "Y'all just be grateful." He didn't see that. And those were the moments that made me who I am. And so now his opinion didn't matter. His opinion would never become my reality. And my freshman year, I played special teams. Sophomore season came, broke the starting lineup. You know the first person I went to see at media day? He quit. He was so embarrassed. And I'll never forget my sophomore season. I finally made it to the point in my life where I felt as if everything in my life was lining up. Spiritually, I was getting discipled. Life was in shape. On track to graduate in 3 years. Life was in shape, education. I still remember the day I was in the film room watching film, and I was watching the California Bears, and my defensive backs coach, Larry Slade, came in the room. He said, Inky Johnson, I got some good news for you. And I dropped the clicker, and I said, Coach, what is it? He said, son, you're a projected top 30 draft pick. He said, all you have to do is play these next 10 football games. You're an automatic multi-millionaire. I ran out of the room. I got on the phone. I called my mother and my grandmother. I said, listen, I said, after this season, we will never struggle. I said, we will never miss another meal. I said, after this season, our lives are about to change forever. And little did I know our lives are really about to change. The first game we come out, play against California Bears. I get an interception. We shut them down. We get the victory. Second game, we're playing against Air Force. It gets late in the game, found ourselves in a dogfight. Quarterback dropped back. He released the ball to the running back coming down my sideline. Now I approach the tackle like I approach any other tackle, and the way I'm approaching it, either I'm gonna knock you out or you're gonna knock me out. I'm 165 pounds. I can't play with anybody. But at the point of contact, when I hit this guy, something different happened that had never happened to me before in my life. I hit him, and it seemed as if every breath in my body left. My body went completely limp. I fell to the ground. I blacked out. I'll never forget when my eyes opened, my teammates ran over to me. My first guy that was over was Gerard Mayo, the middle linebacker for the Patriots, one of my best friends. And he said, Ink, get up, let's go. I said, I can't. He said, what do you mean you can't? You're out lockdown corner, we need you, let's go. I said, I can't move. I said, there's a shock going through my whole body. I can't feel anything, man. One of the scariest moments of my life, and the shock eventually left, and it stayed in my right arm and hand. And I remember as I was lying there, I flipped my head to the left, and I could see the doctors and the trainers running onto the field, and I flipped my head up to the sky, and I said, God, I said, surely nothing has happened in this moment that can alter my life. I flipped my head back over to the left, and they were bringing the spine board out. I flipped my head up to the sky, I said, God, I said, that's precautionary measures, right? They get me up on the spine board, they're wheeling me off the field, and I looked at the doctor because I couldn't feel my right arm. They had poked me with all types of needles. Inky, can you feel this? Can you feel? I couldn't feel a thing. And I said, Doc, can you lift my right arm and hand? He said, sure, Ink, and he raised it up, and I lifted my left. And I pumped it to our supporters. I don't believe in using the word fans. I think it's an arrogant term. Who am I to call a person a fan? They pay to see you play. They're supporting you. And as he was bringing my arm down, I looked at the doctor. I said, oh yeah. I said, I'll be back. Never thinking that would be the last game that I would ever play in my life. They get me in the ambulance, things turn up a notch, I still don't pay it any mind. They get me over to the hospital, say, Inky, we're gonna take you back and run some CAT scans. They took me back, they ran the CAT scans, and they rolled me back into my room, and I'll never forget it. All in about a 15-second time frame, I was lying there in my bed, and I could see over my right shoulder. And I looked at my father, and we caught eyes, and my father, he went to take a step in, and he looked at me, and he said, son, I can't do it. And he walked out. My mother, she came in, she was running, she kissed me on my forehead, she said a prayer, she said, Ink, everything is gonna be okay, and she ran out. And as soon as my mother stepped outside of the room, the doctor rushed in from the opposite side, and he said, hey, get in here, we gotta rush this guy back to emergency surgery, he's about to die. I said, what? I said, my mom just told me everything was going to be okay. Like, this is total opposite, you talking about I'm about to die. I said, what happened? He said, son, what happened? You have busted up subclavian artery in your chest. You're bleeding internally. Have to rush you back and take the main vein out of your left leg and plug it into your chest in order to save your life. And when I woke up from recovery, the same doctor standing over me, he said, Inky, I have some good news and some bad news for you. I said, you got some bad news for me? After telling him I was about to die, I'm still alive. How bad can it get? I'm still here. He said, the good news is, son, we saved your life. I said, thank you, sir. He said, the bad news is you have nerve damage in your right shoulder. I said, cool. He said, we got to send you up to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. I said, cool. He said, but the problem is, Ink, you probably can never play the game of football again in your life. I said, no way. He said, yeah, Ink, you got some pretty bad nerve damage. I said, no. I said, Doc, no disrespect, man, but I'm 8 games away. Like, Doc, no disrespect, but this is about to change my family's life. Doc, I've been working for this ever since I was 7 years old. Doc, there's no way. God, not now, God. Like, let me make it to the NFL so I can help my family first. Like, we miss Mills. And you're talking about my career could end right now? Like, no way. And I snapped out of it. I said, man, I never cheated. I said, there's no way. I never cheated. I never cheated myself. I gave everything I had to it, and I respected it. I never cheated. There's no way that my career can be over. I said, send me up to the Mayo Clinic. And after several visits, I'll never forget, this is when reality set in. It was me, my mother, my father in the room, and the doctors came in. They said, Inky Johnson, here's the deal.